So at this point in the Focus, the wheels are finished. The engine bay looks absolutely incredible. Next up, it's the headlights. Now, the headlights are arguably the most important, and the reason why is because, well, this is safety. Safety first. Besides the visual appearance of making the vehicle look a lot better, if the headlights are cloudy like this, they're limiting the output of the actual light coming from the lens. So I'm going to show you a very simple method to sand these, polish them, and apply a ceramic coating so the lens looks brand new. Now to start, I went ahead and I taped off the surrounding areas, and you can do this before you wash the car, so any kind of sanding sling is easily washed off when you actually wash it, or you can do this after you wash the car. So I've already actually washed this car, which we'll talk about in the next segment. So the car is clean, the headlights are clean, and it's time to sand. My tool of choice is going to be a mini cordless polisher with a 3-inch pad, and I'm going to sand with 3 different levels of grit, starting with 500 grit. The lower the level of grit, the more aggressive the actual sanding disc is. And the reason I'm sanding is because these particular headlights have a coating on them that's clearly begun to fade, and it's very cloudy and it's oxidized. If I were just to use the compound, it would make them look better, but it's not going to make them look completely better. So my goal is to get this to look as good as it can, as clear as it can. So for that, I'm going to mechanically abrade the oxidation by sanding it away. So I have a spray bottle here with water and a little bit of soap, and I'm simply going to spray it directly on the headlight. And you don't have to overly saturate it, you just want to get it wet. And what's really nice about this sanding disc is it has a built-in interface pad, which makes it conform to the curves and contours of the headlight lens. So I'm going to use my machine, and I'm simply going to go over the lens. And again, this is a 500 grit. Turn my speed up a little bit. This is sanding away all that oxidation. You can see that slurry there. That's the material that's been abraded. And the reason I taped off my paint and my hood is popped is so I don't accidentally damage the adjacent surface. Now, depending on how bad the headlights are, this first step might take a few applications. At this point, the headlight is uniformly dull, and that's to be expected because I've been wet sanding. So the first step with the 500 grit is done. The next step is to use 1000 grit. And what this will do is it's going to replace the 500 grit sanding scratches with 1000 grit sanding scratches. So 500 grit is done, 1000 grit is finished. The last and final step is 3000 grit. And if you're wondering, well, why can't you just stop at 500 grit or 1000 grit? Well, the reason why is because these scratches right here, they're too deep to effectively remove when I use my headlight restoring polish. So same process. Spray the lubricant on the surface, which in this case is water with a little bit of car soap, and then get to work. So at this point, I've completely sanded away all the oxidation. The headlight looks uniformly dull, which is a good thing. Last but not least, for the restoration step, is to compound the headlights. And for that, I'm going to use a wool pad on the same tool, which is a dual action cordless polisher. And I have a specialized headlight compound that's actually designed specifically for polycarbonate headlight lenses. It's an all-in-one headlight restoring polish. So apply it directly to the applicator pad, put it directly on the actual headlight lens, and you want to always make sure that your buffer is on the surface before you turn it on. Otherwise, you can splatter your polish all over the place. And you want to set your tool to a high speed, put about 10 pounds of downward pressure, and perform slow, overlapping passes until you see clarity restored. And when you turn off your machine, make sure the pad stops rotating before you lift it off the surface. Again, you want to avoid splattering your polish all over the place. Completely finished polishing at this point. And wow, look at that clarity. I just saved the owner of this vehicle easily $500 by simply spending a few bucks on a headlight restoration system to restore the clarity to these headlights. So besides the obvious, meaning it looks really good, it actually significantly increases the safety of the vehicle, because no longer do you have this cloudy oxidation over the actual lens hindering the output of the light. The last step is to apply a ceramic headlight coating, and the reason you do that is it's to protect the headlight so it doesn't oxidize again too quickly. So a ceramic headlight coating is designed specifically for polycarbonate headlight lenses, and it's going to bond to the material and apply a crystal clear coating. Really simple to apply. Just a few drops onto an applicator pad, and then apply to the surface. Once you work it into the lens, take a microfiber towel and simply wipe off the excess. Next up, I'm going to show you guys how to perform a chemical and mechanical decontamination wash. Stay tuned for more.